some stock photo, right? Pretty much the last thing I ever wanted to do, but I made the most of it, of course, right? Now, the upside of that office job was that I was actually working at the Dr. Phil show in Hollywood as an office PA. PA just stands for production assistant. Now, through that job, I met one of the camera crews for the show. They found out I had gone to school for audio, and they said, Blair, why on earth are you working here in the office? You could be out here in the field with us doing sound for TV. Now, they said that the audio guys they knew were able to work whenever they wanted to. They were making great money, and you get to get out of the office for good. Now, honestly, it had never even occurred to me that I could use my audio skills in the world of television. Now, you know how it is when you're in the world of music. Television is usually the furthest thing from your mind, or at least it was for me, all right? Now, fast forward a couple months, and I actually ended up going and working in that camera crew's gear rental house in Burbank, California, prepping gear for shoots, cleaning it up when it came back in from a shoot, and really learning the ins and outs of the gear. Now, it was tough, though, because I was only making like $10 an hour working in their warehouse, and in Los Angeles, that really doesn't go very far. So, but then one day, as I was prepping some gear to go out on a big reality show called Renovate My Family, which was Fox's version of Extreme Home Makeover, if you remember that one, one of the owners of the gear rental company came in and said, all right, Blair, you're going to Chicago with me next week, and I'm sorry, but I could only negotiate a $1,500 a week flat rate for you as A2. Now, depending on where you are in your career, that may or may not sound like much money to you, but I'll tell you, at the time, that was the most money I had ever made. That was more than double what I had been making as an office PA at the Dr. Phil show. Now, I tried to play it cool when he told me that, but I seriously about messed my pants right there. I was so stoked, guys. Well, that trip to Chicago turned into a 6-month tour all over the country, and even though I was only working as a lowly A2, I quickly moved up the ranks from A2 to mixer to multi-track mixer, and honestly, it was that one gig that really set me up for life in this career. Because by the time I had come out the other end of that grueling 6 months, I had honed my chops to where I was as good as any other reality mixer out there. Now, on top of that, that 6-month gig opened the door to so many other opportunities for me just from meeting that one crew. Seriously, I still keep in touch with a lot of those guys, even now more than 10 years later. So that was the hard way. 4 years of music recording school, $50,000 in tuition, struggling for more than a year in Los Angeles, starting at the bottom of the totem pole in production and working my way up to sound mixer. Total time it took me more than 5 years to figure this thing out. And even then, now I want you guys to notice this. It wasn't until someone who was already in the business actually showed me the ropes that it really started for me, okay? Are you guys getting this? Okay, well, let me ask you this. Do you want the easy way that's going to allow you to skip all of that? Do you want to skip that whole paying your dues process? I mean, think about it. What's it going to be like when you're out there working on all these shows, and then a few months later you're seeing them all over TV, and you're telling your friends and family, yeah, I worked on that one. Oh, yeah, I worked on that other one. What would that be like? I'll tell you what it's going to be like. It's going to be awesome. I mean, think about it. When you're out there working as a pro-level sound mixer, what's your family going to say? Well, I'll tell you what mine said. My dad told me, geez, Blair, you're making more money than I am in my corporate job. Now think how strangely awesome that would be. Well, at least it was for me when he said that to me. Guys, do you want to jump right into doing these awesome gigs? I mean, what would your friends say when they see all these pictures of you on Facebook, having a blast at work, on the beach, at sporting events, behind the scenes, meeting celebrities, all the while they're stuck in their office job wishing they were you? What would you do with your life? What would you do different? What if you could make 6 figures a year and actually love your job at the same time? I mean, can you imagine what that's going to be like when you're an established sound mixer? What's it going to be like when you look at the past month and you've got $12,000 in paychecks from it? What would you do with that much money? Seriously, at the end of my first year as an established mixer, I literally had about $60,000 sitting in my bank account. Now, don't worry, it's all gone now, though. I got married and had kids. Maybe you know what that's like. Maybe you don't. But seriously, what would you do with that kind of cash? It's pretty exciting, don't you think? I mean, would your family stop telling you to get a real job? Mine did. So to tally it up, In the past 3 years alone, I've made over $250,000, and I still took 3 months off every year. I don't say that to impress you. I say that to impress upon you how real this career can be for you. Think about that. Isn't that awesome? I think it's awesome. But okay, before we go any further, I do want to make one thing very clear here, people. These results are not typical. Now, I'm going to walk you through exactly how I got into this business and show you what worked for me. And really, that's what I just took you guys through when I told you my story. Now, my results are certainly not typical, and the average person who attends any training like this gets 0 results. However, I'm happy to show you exactly what's worked for me and my other students totally free. This is not for get-rich-quick people or anybody who doesn't respect the fact that anything worthwhile in life requires effort. Does that make sense? Okay, cool. All right, now with that out of the way, let's get to the good stuff, all right? I told you guys I'm going to show you how to make $104,730 a year as a reality TV sound mixer and still take 3 months off every year. However,
right,
to take it even further, I'm going to reveal my 3...
Okay. Okay. So, Tell me what your thoughts are of the introduction. What are you thinking?
I mean, the only thing I was wondering about is, is it kind of a jarring transition to go from telling my story to going to, all those future-pacing questions, what's it going to be like for you when you're, working on all these cool shows, Is there too much of that in there, or does it really fit, you know what I mean? Okay. Does it sound too salesy or whatever?
Okay, what else? What else do you think?
I mean, I think I had tested out doing like a hook to the end where you get this freebie or whatever, but now I'm using that freebie as my little tripwire offer on the registration thank you page. But fortunately, I haven't seen it really affect the drop-off rate through the attendees on the webinar, so it doesn't seem to make an effect whether I have that freebie at the end or not. And also, just by the way, this is a recording of the webinar that I use on the auto webinar funnel that I have. So typically when I do this live, I'm actually, I'm waiting for people to respond in the chat box and that sort of thing.
Okay. So in terms of the future pacing, I think the future pacing is fine. I actually think it's really good. I think it's really well done. I really like your introduction for the most part.
Okay.
I mean, I think you being break even right now it's a telltale sign that people want this and they need it, and there's a few things that we can change. One thing that I would do is let's back up a little bit. Tell me who your target audience is. Who's your ideal customer?
So, well, the perfect ideal customer is somebody who has already tried to build up his career as a reality TV sound mixer, but just hasn't been able to get it to a point where it's his full-time income. With those guys, it's usually just, they go through like, a few of my videos and then they make an extra 15 grand over 2 months, you know what I mean? And I actually have a testimonial from one of those guys. That's the ideal. Then let's see, probably the majority of students that come in are people that are not in reality TV at all, but they have some sort of audio background. Maybe they, like in my story, I ran sound for my band, or maybe they went to a recording school and they were doing music recording, and it's just not paying enough money for them to make a living, and then they hear this, and so those are really cool to take as well, because they've got the audio background, and really, in my opinion, it's that if they have that audio background, it really makes it a lot easier to sell them on the idea, because they're already technically minded, they already have sort of that engineering mindset, and it's not as far of a jump for them mentally.
So you're saying the majority of the people who get on your webinar, they are interested, they have an audio background, but they're not in reality TV. Is that correct?
Yeah, so they're either not in reality TV or still in school. One of my most effective interest groups that I target on Facebook is Full Sail University, which is, if you're familiar, it's down in Orlando. It's like a film school and recording arts school, that sort of thing.
So my question really is, where is the bigger opportunity? I mean, how big is this reality TV sound mixer market? Is it easy to get a hold of these people, or is it? Let me just leave it at that.
Yeah.
Is it easy to get a hold of them?
I think so. And I see two primary markets that I can go after. The warmer market are the people that are already in either film school or the film and television industry, and then separate from that are all the people in the music recording industry. So the music and the film and television, they kind of stay separate. They're like two different worlds, even though they're all audio, right? And so the larger world is the music recording. Okay, so but that would be more, colder traffic. They're not familiar with all the jargon of television production, that sort of thing.
Okay, all right.
So
So
that bigger
your ideal customer is the reality TV sound mixer, and they're struggling to make a living. But you said the majority of the people, they have some sort of audio background. They're just not in reality TV, right?
Yeah, they're either not in reality TV or they haven't even really started their professional career yet because they're still in school.
Okay, then if that's the majority of the people who are on your webinar,
Hmm.
what we need to do in the beginning is we need to do a couple of things. First of all, we need to speak directly to them and present the opportunity in a frame that they're going to understand. So there's a couple ways that you can do that. First of all, you can have who is this for? You can have a who is this for slide. Like, you want to make sure that these people who are on know that you're speaking directly to them. And you kind of, you do it with your jargon and you do it with your lingo, and